There you go.
What's up, everybody? You got the Millipreneur and Mr. Tom Kurtz from Whole Nine Yards going the extra mile today. Uh, Another episode. We're looking to drop some wisdom with you guys and keep it raw, keep it real. Tom, how you doing?
Good man, good. Just getting this done and keep on going today.
Awesome. Well, hopefully you guys have been enjoying some of our content. Like I said, you're along for the ride with us here. We're all riding the wave. We don't have it figured out. That's why we're here. We're trying to drop some knowledge with you guys and learn along the way from our experiences. And Tom and I were sitting here discussing, what are we going to talk about today? And I said, there's about 1.5, maybe 2 million new degrees that are going to be handed out this upcoming 2 weeks, and all these new guys coming, or new guys and gals going into the workforce. And what does that mean for us, for employers, for those individuals entering the quote unquote welcome to the real world? So, what are you thinking, Tom? So, Tom, when did you graduate college?
College?
Yeah,
Never finished.
you never finished. Well, good for you. Good for you. I graduated, seriously. I graduated back in 2013, and now we're in 2018, and for me, it's gonna be 5 years. Actually, 5 years yesterday, May 5th was when I graduated college. And let me tell you, those 4 years seem real long. And these last 5 years, I can tell you what I've done.
It's real short. No, trust me. I actually measure my time not by the new year. I measure my time by birthdays.
Okay.
So just had a birthday, and now I've got 1 year till I hit 30. Well, 30, reality is not really a big deal. It's probably like every other year.
Mhm.
But in my mind, I'm going, okay, 30. That's like you're talking the next decade. So I got a few things to finish up.
Next one is 40.
Got a few things to finish up here. So yeah, that time does move quick. Um, I finished. I finally hung up going to college probably in I don't know 12 maybe 11 12 something
Yeah.
like that.
What? Why is that?
Did I ever tell you a story about why I decided NYT? Went to NYT, paid for it in cash, worked my ass off, made the 3 payments. Did I ever tell you that story?
No.
Okay, so that story goes like this.
I've known this guy for a couple of years now. I've never heard of this guy. This is what it's all about. Let's keep it organic. Go for it, Tom.
Going to NYT, I had to have the 4 year degree. You know, go to school, be an engineer. Realize that my math skills aren't that strong, and I don't feel like putting the energy into learning that level of math. So I said, okay, let me do architecture. That's drawing. I could do that. Went there, doing architecture. Realized that um, architects don't make any money because their job's not protected. You can go and hire a draftsman for $35 an hour, and they can go draft it, and then you go get the engineer to stamp the drawings, and that's not required in every county. New York's a little stricter. Mecklenburg County and Charlotte, North Carolina is a little stricter, but the surrounding counties, I can draft a set of plans up for my client myself, and literally pull a permit. Never show them to the county. Just have them on site and start building. As long as it is built to code, they don't care. So that goes to show you got a $100,000 degree and no protection. Joe Schmo off the street can go and undercut you.
That could be scary.
Well, that I learned recently. What made me realize that this is not exactly a great profession, having a 4 year degree, 5 year degree, and then another 2 years under somebody else to get licensed and all this other stuff I had to do. So now it's like a doctor. You're 7 to 10 years into this thing, and then you're finally just starting to maybe get a little traction, a little money. My professor could not afford to pay for a cab. They didn't have Uber at the time, but a
You
cab.
talked about this on our last episode, yeah.
Yeah. And that was when the realization hit that maybe this 4 year degree thing is not the smartest thing to do when I can go out into the world and make 100 grand a year swinging a hammer as a contractor pretty quick.
But it seems from what you're telling me, you had at least the slightest inkling of what you wanted to do. Because that's the $1 million question. What do you want to do? What do you want to be when you grow up? When you're young and naive, and the world is all unicorns and rainbows and fucking roses. You know what I mean? But then you experience a taste of reality, and that's where there's a paradigm shift. But it seems like you kind of had a more of an idea of what you wanted to do, at least. I don't know,
It would appear to most people that I had a good idea of what I
or at
want to
least
do.
a starting point. A starting
Yeah.
point.
Even Paul says it all the time. He considers me fortunate that I always knew what I wanted to do. Um, I'm not actually doing what I want to do. and let me break that down for you.
You're on your way there.
Well, no.
No.
What I wanted to do was I love to bang nails. I would build stuff and create stuff and work with my hands. Love it.
Hmm.
Um, that morphed because of my business goals into having to manage people, hire people, figure out employment laws, figure out social media. I'm looking at getting an assistant now to handle some of the stuff that I haven't had time for. So that's morphed itself. Um,
Well, let me ask you this: what's the causation behind that morphing? Is it because you were, I mean, because you are good at what you do and you drew up the business, or was it that the business was in demand that you wanted to capitalize on the opportunity on? Because really, I mean, I would say it's probably easy to say just, hey, I only want to scale this much and it's as much as I can handle. But something I think inside of you made you want to take the train.
well, that's a personal thing when it comes to that. It's entrepreneurship.
Right.
I didn't have a choice to other than to keep scaling. If I had to go back and do it again, and I found somebody like me to be employed by, I'd
Mhm.
consider becoming just a master carpenter. Um, Long Island Union carpenter, 10 years into the trade, they're making six figures with their bennies and all that. Their take home is 50, I think like 58. I haven't looked at it in a while, but $58 an hour.
Mhm.
They're getting paid. They're about $100 an hour with all their benefits and everything as a carpenter, iron workers. Um, so looking back, if I were to not want to own a business, but have a great job and a great career doing something I love to do, I'd go back and do it that way. I would learn the skilled trade and do it that way. Now,
Are you not enjoying what you do now, though?
it's not that I don't enjoy what I do now, but it's not my passion. Everyone tells you follow your passion, follow your passion.
It's a bunch of bullshit.
um, your passion is gonna lead you into a job, like, and then you're gonna hate your passion.
That's so true. It is so true. But and we could play devil's advocate with both sides of that coin. I've got a story I'll say for another day, uh, but it falls hand in hand with what you're talking about. But I get it. I get it. So what are we thinking here? I mean, gosh, I've been doing a lot of soul searching lately. I'm 27 years old this July, out of college with my bachelor's degree, 5 years here in Huntersville, North Carolina, Charlotte, North Carolina. Had I known I was going to be here 5 years ago, I would have laughed in your face. It's interesting because a lot of us go into school. I'm going to actually segue real quick. I was on Snapchat earlier today, and I was looking at some Snap stories from across the country, and that's when I realized, oh yeah, it's graduation weekend, or that's coming up, and thinking about, wow, where was I 5 years ago now? And I had just graduated the day before, and then just out of curiosity, I Googled my alma mater's website just to see, what their academic calendar was. I'm curious to see when their graduation is, and their graduation is next week, next Saturday, or I'm sorry, next Sunday, I think. And I'm like, all right, well, what was I doing around that? I like to reminisce and daydream a lot. So I was like, where was I this time last year? What was I doing? And I'm like, man, we had senior week. You know what senior week consisted of?
Drinking, carrying on.
7 days. 7 days. Just drink, sleep, party, get up, rinse, and repeat. And I can assure you, everybody was in on it. And if they tell you they weren't, they're liars. Okay? Because maybe their employer might have found out, or they had some kind of fear. But I remember walking down the aisle for graduation, and it's like, wow, this is it. This is over. It's been a hell of a ride. And then I was driving home later that day. It was raining, and I said, okay, well, that is legitimately behind me now. What's next? I, had experienced some life events around the same time, and was going to move back home, live with my parents for a little bit. But I landed a job at a local sports academy. They reached out and recruited me for that, so that kind of took a little bit off. But I had just graduated with a prestigious degree in business, and I felt that I needed to pursue that route. Well, what does that really mean? I've reverted back in some of our previous podcasts about connotations and schematics. what does that business degree mean? What does it mean to be fulfilling that? And I think that really I've been doing it my whole life, and that's by living that entrepreneurial, lifestyle and finding these opportunities that, don't necessarily present themselves as, packaged with a ribbon. A friend of mine just sent me a message earlier today, and it was, being an entrepreneur, it's living a couple of, a couple of years in your life like nobody else will, so you can then live a life that nobody else can't. So I know I just went on a little bit of a rant there, Tom, but what are you thinking? What are you hearing from me?
Well, it's a few things. These kids getting out of school. What are their?
Notice how we say these kids.
Yeah,
I
it's a
love
scary thought. Which, by the way, I don't know. Maybe as we get older, but I still feel like I'm 20-something years old.
Hey, young at heart, man.
Sometimes I look at these contracts clients are signing with me. I'm like, you're about to give me like over $100,000, and I'm like, in my mind, I'm still like that 21-year-old kid.
I can definitely empathize with you on that. Those are thoughts I have some days myself.
So yeah, it's more and more I'm trying to realize like I am at the age I'm in, and it's time to start moving forward. But I think overall, like I was saying with the passion, passion turns into a job. You should keep your passions for your hobbies.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like my guy Roe that does racing.
Yeah.
That's his hobby. That's what he does on the weekends.
Yeah, you came to that enlightenment a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
During one of our podcasts.
Exactly. Leave him alone. Let him do his thing, which I've been doing. Find something you like to do, challenges you every day. Kind of relating back to what you were saying. Carpentry and framing, and all of that I did for so long, I got to a point where it wasn't challenging anymore because it was the day-to-day for me.
Yeah.
And now doing what I do, building businesses, it's a challenge every day. There's something new to learn every day. So find something, I think, career-wise that you have the opportunity to learn and then graduate into the next level, whether it's management, and that's going to be a whole new skill set. And I'm not talking to the guy that's a 50-year-old who's been a carpenter for 30 years, and that's what, some guys will settle in that. They're happy with that. They don't want management roles, and you got to leave those guys alone. Let them do their thing. There's a value there. Recognize that most people bring a certain value and use those values to create the business around that. I feel like I'm rambling a little here.
No, go for it, man. This is open forum. That's what I love about this, guys, is we don't really come in with an agenda. We quickly talk about a few things. We'll shoot a couple texts back during the week leading up to the next time we sit down, but this is raw, it's real, it's organic. That's what we're going for, and we're looking forward to some of your guys' feedback. Challenge us, agree with us, whatever. I mean, that's the beauty of the world that we live in. We all have that ability, and really that ability of free thinking, because I feel as if from a very young age, whether it's family or, can go back to that whole concept of nature and nurture, but we're just indoctrinated, with certain beliefs, and this is who you are, this is your religion, this is the food you eat, this is, who you hang out with, this is where you go, and, and it's obviously, if we want to use an example here from a parental standpoint, we would hope that it's all coming from a good place of interest, for the benefit. And my parents, I think our parents did that with all of us. And then as we, get older, we start to, at least feel the ability to, think on our own, make decisions. For me, that came at a very young age, and you could, I can testament to that because I always got in trouble because I was always questioning things. it was what it was, and that's because I had a curious mind. You tell me something, well, why? Why is that the case? And I think that's allowed me to live in a different mindset, and you as well, and that's really the essence of why we're here, and that's to, open up the forum for that and say, hey, it's okay. I mean, there's going to be over, 2 million graduates in the next couple of weeks, and I looked at some statistics. We could look at some numbers here and there, and employers are saying, oh, there's going to be there's a 75% higher chance of a new graduate being hired this year versus in years past, and you know, who knows if that's factual, and we could talk I don't really want to talk politics. I take that back. But we could talk about some of the political decisions that are, being enforced, like the tax cuts. How's that going to affect companies, individuals, and what other opportunities is that going to have? What kind of other opportunities will present themselves, from that, and will there be more jobs out there? Will individuals choose to start a business earlier on in their careers, or are they going to go and gain some experience at a company? This, that, or the other. But it's just interesting to see where we are, in this time of humanity.
So to tie all this together, I guess where we're going with this today is the getting out of college, not being far out of college, that confusion at the end, where to go, what to do, how to do it. What we're saying is, don't sit there and say, oh, let me follow my passion. Don't let me pigeonhole myself into, I got a career in business, so I got to go, or excuse me, a degree in business, so I've got to go to a Fortune 500 company.
Right.
You're young enough now to fail, and not fail in the sense of failure, but you're going to learn a lot more experience in a startup. So you're not going to make the big bucks. You'll maybe you take a salary for 30,000 a year instead of 35 that you would find in a corporate company. But they've already figured it out. They've already structured their way. They're dinosaurs. They're going to move slow. Your upward mobility is not going to be as good. Coming out of college, maybe find something that you do have a little bit of interest in. Maybe not your passion, because that may ruin it for you. But find something that interests you. Maybe work with a startup, take a little less money, gain that experience.
Question things. Always ask why, and don't be afraid of doing that. And I found myself earlier on in my career, my endeavors and such, just being okay with it. Being okay with taking it as it came, and hoping that things would be different. And some cases they were, some cases they weren't. And I think through experience, I've become able to recognize this earlier on and know that, this might not be the right fit. And a lot of times, especially if you're going to work for a smaller employer or a startup too, remember that you're working somebody else's dream. You're just another pawn on their chessboard, and that's okay, because you're going to learn some things along the way. Life is going to teach you so much more out of college than you'll ever imagine. That's why I can't even, if I were to sit down here with Tom right now and talk about the last 5 years of my life, and how fast they've gone by, it's because so much has happened. Whereas in that 4-year gridlock I was in, it was just rinse and repeat every single day. It was like, all right, got class. All right, when can I go get some food? All right, got enough time for an hour and a half nap. And then it's class again, crank out an assignment real quick, and then it's, I played college sports, and now it's time to go to practice, and rinse and repeat. Okay, it's Thirsty Thursday, let's get drunk. It's Friday, Saturday, all right, now it's Sunday, let's drink water and get our homework done for the week. And that was reality then, but let me tell you, that reality ain't true now. But I'll tell you, it's been a lot. So remember, but back to my point is, in particular, we're really trying to target this entrepreneurial demographic out there in the younger generations, especially with this. Go work those startups, go take those opportunities. And Tom says, you don't fail, but it's not necessarily a bad thing. I tell people, I either win or I learn. I never lose. I either win or I learn, period. And out of every experience, you're going to take something out of it, and put your own dreams and your own imagination and your own creativity into play. And then with that, take on that responsibility, that intrinsic altruistic responsibility of bringing on that next level of workforce, and training them and teaching them and mentoring them enough so that, going back to what Tom talked about in our first episode, of being able to go on and do that on their own. So
in kind of to segue here to what I'm alluding to, the company may, and when I say fail, the company may fail, and you might be out of a job the next day, but now's the time to have that happen.
Yep.
any good entrepreneur is going to let you question it because they know they don't have all the answers. I've got a great team. I'm trying to bring on someone in the office, and one of the first things I'm going to tell them is, look, I want you to do the social media aspect. I want you to go to these jobs. I want you to take photos. I want you to maybe do little mini interviews, however you want to do it. You leverage technology by using a VA to edit video,
What's a
edit
VA?
virtual assistant.
Okay.
So we can get work done cheaper in other countries, and that's the fact of the matter. Is we're
It's
now,
the truth.
well, we're now a global economy.
Right.
Politically, everyone can fight however they want to fight, but we're a global economy. If you got someone here in the U.S. who can capture the photos, direct these VAs on what needs to be done at a cheaper rate, increases their value, meaning I can pay them a higher amount per hour. But go to work for that person. That, like I was saying, I'm gonna tell them straight up. Here's what I want. Go do it. Talk to my superintendent. What's a good day to go by to get photos on this job and that job? Create your own schedule. Work with the super. Create your schedule. Have a little freedom in your job. Any good entrepreneur is gonna recognize that, allow you to do that, knowing you could probably figure out a better way. We've got enough in our minds to worry about that we don't even think clearly. So that's what I'm saying. Go with the startup now, because if you may not get in with a Google, you may not get in with any of these ones that just blew up, but you might get in with that guy that runs a 2, 3, 5, $10 million a year business. In 5 or 10 years, it's just a nice tight knit family. People are making 6 figures, and you got a nice path. It may not happen all. He may close shop tomorrow, but from 18 to 25, you've got that time to take that risk. And the very worst that happens, you're going to learn that inside experience when you do go take a corporate secure job.
100%. 100%. All right, guys. Well, hey, we appreciate you joining in with us again this week. We've got some good content coming forward. Give us some love in the comments section down below. You know where to find it. Let us know how we're doing, what you want to talk about. Challenge us, please. I love a battle of wits. Peace.